The Parshas of Matos Masei almost always, actually always come out in the middle of the 3 weeks, the time of the Bein HaMasarim, when we are focused on the Beis HaMikdash, what we had, what we lost, and what we can do to compensate for its loss. The summer months, of course, are Bein HaZmanim, no correlation to Bein HaMasarim, God forbid. So it behooves us to think of ways in which we can increase our Torah study during these summer vacation months. We certainly have more time. Generally, more time is frittered away on Narishkeiten, and we don't really devote ourselves as strongly as we're in a structured program. So we should structure these for ourselves. Now, there's a very bevusta Maisa that Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and whose sefer I'm studying and using every week for the Parsha, had his set shiurim, had his set quotas of learning. In the year 5762, which corresponds to 2001, he had Nabuch's stroke, Rav Chaim. And on Sukkot, he was not even able to walk. He had to be carried from bed to chair and chair to bed. He was barely managed to move at all. Once they put him into bed and he lay down, he asked them to bring him a Gemara of Masei, and he was holding it in his hand, and he finished the 8 blot of his Masei that night, holding the Gemara in his hand. After Yontif, he was admitted to a hospital where they cared for him. He was partially paralyzed and could not even concentrate. He never missed one day of his blot learning, 8 blot a day. So it serves as a model to us as to what we could strive for. Nobody that I know does 8 blot a day. Certainly not anybody I know. Certainly not anybody I know. So his famous saying on that issue, or on that point, was, after so many years of learning my daily quotas, I became somewhat familiar with the material. That's in parentheses, in quotes. So after looking at the beginning of the Gemara, I'm able to complete it by heart. So he knew Shas by heart. That's interesting. Now, to the Parsha, and generally the beginnings of every Parsha have more mazel than the ends of every Parsha, because that's the way it is. Everybody knows the first pasuk of almost every Parsha, but almost nobody knows the last pasuk of almost every Parsha. Even after the last pasuk of the last Parsha, in the Chumashim, almost all the Chumashim have little words to tell you how many psukim there were in that Parsha. So the last words in Masei are Al Yarden Yerecho, and after Yarden Yerecho has a little words that it says that Parshas Masei has 132 psukim in it, and the note says, what is the mnemonic? What's the word? Machla Choyla. Machla Choyla. Now, one of my grandchildren this week asked me, what kind of name is Machla for a person? I said that was one of Tzlavchad's daughters, and it is. It's one of Tzlavchad's daughters' name. So getting back to Machla Choyla here, someone came to Rav Chaim and said, Machla Choyla, if you translate it literally, means someone who got sick with an illness. Is that the way to end the Parsha? A, and B, especially the end of a Sefer, like Sefer Bamidbar, which shows, and we're supposed to always end things with a good note. Many of the Haftarahs repeat the next to the last pasuk, because the last pasuk is on a negative note, and we want to repeat with a positive note. Very, very famous halacha and minhag. We all know it that way. So Rav Chaim responded immediately, just to show you his bekiyas. Choyla does not mean sick in this pasuk. It means dancing, as in a mochoil, as the Mishnah teaches us in Tainus. Yoitzois v'choylos bakramim, on the Tu B'Av, and even on Day Yom Kippur, actually. The young girls would go out and dance in the vineyards so that they would make shidduchim. So they were discussing preparations for chasana. And this machla is not being sick, it's machla, Tzlavchad's daughter, the daughter of Tzlavchad, whose marriage is recorded at the end of the parsha. So it refers back to machla choyla, that she's dancing. Just incredible bekiyas. I was totally blown away by this little pinkala of showing the godless of Rav Chaim and Zatzal and what he was. And we were fortunate to have him in our time. And Mitzvah Hashem, we should strive to duplicate even one little fraction of his work. Good Shabbos.